Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jacob with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. Joined once again by Chris Bress and Patty Greer. C60 Evo, one of the greatest products on the market right now. We've talked about it before in the past, and we're like bringing it forward again. Today, we're going to talk about olive oil. It's amazing. It goes all the way back to the past. You can look in, just pull up ancient Greek and Roman ruins, and you're going to see olive trees everywhere. So the ancients knew that there were some benefits to this, and we're basically going to bring it back into the now. So you guys have done amazing work with olive oil, and you have seen that there is a very good reason why we should be using olive oil. Let's jump in. Chris, thanks, and Patty, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, so I do have a little bit of presentation. One of the things that really turned, and I'll share that here in a second, but one of the things that really kind of gets me excited about olive oil is when you think about the original study that we often talk about, right, where the rats lived 90% longer than the control group. In that study, there were actually three groups. One group was given water, one group was given olive oil, and then obviously the water group was control. The olive oil was a semi-control group, and then the last group was given olive oil with the ESS60 molecule. The group given olive oil lived 30% longer. Right. And from that original study, I have just always said, hey, whatever amount of olive oil you are consuming, you probably should be consuming more. Right. Like it's just such a healthful oil. And we're going to get into some details here. But you're right. You go back to ancient Egypt. They used olive oil to brush their teeth. Right. Like it was just so used so much. So let me figure out how to share my screen here. Should be pretty straightforward.
So I did a little traveling over the last year, and I went to Turkey and the Roman ruins around Turkey. Olive trees everywhere. The olive oil in Turkey is phenomenal, and I even brought some of it back home. So yeah, I'm totally looking forward to this. This is gonna be great.
Nice. All right, so I just jumped in. Typically people associate the benefits of olive oil, and actually this is worth pausing too. There are some pretty massive influencers out there. Brian Johnson, who has an olive oil product on the market. Dr. Stephen Gundry. I love what he says. He says the purpose of food is to get more olive oil into your mouth, right? Like that's how important he believes it is. And typically what is in olive oil that's valuable is the polyphenols, right? And so what are polyphenols? They're a powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammatory compound naturally found in plants and found to a significant degree in a high quality extra virgin olive oil. And how do you know that there are polyphenols in olive oil in general and in our oil in particular? When it has a sharp, peppery, and throat tingling sensation, that sensation is largely due to the polyphenol called oleocanthal. And so I don't know if you're in a position, but that just kind of tickles my throat. I'm like, let me go ahead and do a shot.
Oh yeah, I always love when we do this. So yeah, I have it ready. And that's one of the, I didn't realize that really. Maybe I've heard it before, but the tickling, that when you get that tickling and tingling, you get some good stuff. So
absolutely. I see you're almost ready. So cheers.
Cheers.
Well, while you guys are doing shots, I'll say hello from Boulder, Colorado, where my internet is down. So I apologize for not being on camera or being able to see you guys. But at a minimum, I'm in here. And I just want to say that the thing about olive oil is there's A to Z qualities of olive oil, and ours comes from Tunisia. So really important to know that we are not giving you Costco olive oil, but the really good stuff like you had overseas, Michael. We get it from Tunisia, from a specific farm that we know takes excellent care of their grapes or their olives. And sorry, not wine. But those are two classics from history, you know, that olive oil's been around forever, but the quality is what we're talking about with Evo.
God, so good. I love this. I've been wanting to have somebody come in and talk about this for years. So this is fantastic. I know you guys are experts. So Looking forward to this, and
Yeah.
we're starting off good. We got the throat tingling going on. Let's move on, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that I lost one train of thought. I'm sure it'll come back at some point. So what are the benefits of olive oil? I mentioned teeth, right? I mentioned that back in Egypt, they would brush their teeth with olive oil. I know that Dr. Gundry, who of course loves olive oil, talks about using it as a teeth whitener, right? So really powerful. When you think about your teeth, you're thinking about these polyphenols helping reduce the oral bacteria like S. mutans, and they support cleaner teeth, fresher breath, and healthier gums. There's a reason that the Egyptians were brushing their teeth with olive oil. In fact, often, I didn't do it today, but often when I'm taking our product, I'll actually let it sit in my mouth for a while. So I don't do oil pulling and then spit it out. I actually just let it sit in my mouth so I can, treat any kind of bacteria or viruses that are in there. And we'll talk about that here in a second.
Really?
Next, it's really supportive for healthy gut, right? So it contains these natural antimicrobial compounds that help reduce bad bacteria in your gut biome. There's so much research coming out on how important our gut biome is these days. And I could go down a rabbit hole of kind of replacing gut biome with healthy gut. Well, this is interesting. There's one study where they took rats that had Alzheimer's and rats that didn't have Alzheimer's, and they took the gut microflora from the ones without Alzheimer's and put them in the rats with the ones with Alzheimer's, and the Alzheimer's went away. And the reverse was also true. So this gut microbiome is really important, and olive oil is great at supporting it. In terms of immune system support, these polyphenols, a couple of them listed here, support the body's natural antiviral defenses by enhancing immune cell activity. These are kind of things that we're aware of. Heart health. Its monounsaturated fats and antioxidants help lower your LDL oxidation, right? So that's the bad cholesterol that we want to be lower. Supports healthy arteries and promotes better cardiovascular function. I mean, it really is kind of a miracle oil all on its own. And weight loss. Now they talk a little bit here, and there's an extra one that I'm going to add, but olive oil helps improve satiety, stabilizes blood sugar, and supports metabolic health, making it easier to manage appetite and lose weight naturally. It is well known that if you replace saturated fats with olive oil, right, and this is well known in the literature, that you will experience weight loss benefits, right, just by replacing saturated fats with olive oil. So again, so amazing. And then what's the point of, being in great shape, having a great heart if our brain's not working right? The high polyphenol olive oil protects neurons from oxidative stress. We talked about this, supports mitochondrial energy. I actually have a slide talking about our boss theory here pretty soon, and then promotes sharper cognitive function. These are all wins. There are no negative side effects. In fact, people, by the way, Michael, I'm on a run. If you need to, just wave if you need to jump in.
No, I love the scientific side, and I love to let you run. So run as far and as fast as you want. But I will just add that at this point, you're like, it's a no-brainer to be using high quality olive oil. It should be in your diet, period.
Yeah. And to go back to that, in fact, I'll go back there to go back to here. This is I knew my thought would come back eventually. That sharp, peppery, throat tingling sensation. We do get a super small amount of customers, probably in the 0.1, 0.5%, who will call and say, "Hey, it's burning my throat. Is it rancid?" I'm like, no, that's actually the opposite. That means it's a high quality extra virgin olive oil. You may have, and some people in your audience may have been to an Italian restaurant, where they're poured the olive oil for you to dip your bread in.
Love it.
And then they'll crack pepper onto that olive oil. And the reason they're cracking pepper is to make inexpensive olive oil taste expensive, because it gives you that peppery flavor, right? So it's pretty amazing.
Good job. Good job pointing that out. So yes, and you guys, like we've already pointed out, are using the highest quality that you can. So that's just as we talk about now. I have some pictures of like ancient, buildings, ruins and so forth. And there's like this 4,000-year-old olive tree in front of one of these ancient temples. So it was there long before they even built the temples. So if we go back in time, I've had guests on there talked about how going back to Methuselah, Noah, they lived for hundreds of years. And we have been, since the flood, we have been degrading. I think at some point it stopped and started going in the other direction. I think that the olive oil is one of the things that we lost contact with, the quality olive oil. And that's hurt us as far as like, living longer lives. And like you point out with, animals don't lie, they can't be influenced. And if they live 30% longer lives with olive oil, and then with the C60 Evo olive oil, they're living like 90% healthier, longer lives. It's like, duh. Like, come on.
Yeah. Can I blow your mind with a theory?
Go ahead. I love it.
All right. So this is kind of interesting. So remember, and this is a perfect time. This is the molecule we're talking about, right? So I'm holding up the model of the molecule. It's ESS60, discovered in 85. The scientists who discovered it won the Nobel Prize in 96. They thought the molecule would be toxic for various reasons. They put it in a toxicity study. Instead of being toxic, the test subjects that they gave it to, in this case, Wistar rats, lived 90% longer than the control group. So that's the single longest longevity experimental result on mammals in history, peer-reviewed, published research. We're doing a little video dance there. I like it.
Yeah, I'm trying to like make you like Premier One, but it wasn't quite working.
So that molecule is actually a naturally occurring molecule. And the way I like to describe it is if you take the soot from a candle, and you collect that soot, and usually the way you do that is you put a cold steel plate over the candle and you collect that deep, dark soot. That deep, dark soot has parts per million or parts per billion of the ESS60 molecule. Now, here's just a wacky theory. I'm just throwing this out there.
Mm-hmm.
We know that we used to use flame for light, right? And at some point, potentially, we changed the source of the energy source, right? The type of oil or whatever. Maybe older oils used to produce more of the ESS60 molecule. And we'll couple that with your olive oil theory. And now maybe that's the reason that we were having these extended lives in way back when.
Wow. That's interesting. Very, very interesting. So it would be cool to do a study on that at some point, but we have study groups already. So
yeah,
we just have to wait another 50, 60, 80, 100 years and see how it works out.
Exactly.
I want to mention something else about why we promote the olive oil above any other oil is because it holds more of the molecule than any other oil tested.
Right.
So our lab's been in business 34 years, even though Chris doesn't look old enough. He is. I started when he was 6. Oh, wrong.
That's believable.
Right. But we've tested all the other oils to see how much ESS60 the oil will hold at full concentration level. And we blend all of our formulas for 3 weeks in an enclosed chamber that is constantly moving.
I think we may have lost her.
Yeah, she's in and out because of her location, I guess. So it's too bad we can't see Patty because I've had a lot of people comment, like I did, that Patty does look a lot younger.
Yeah. Well, let's get back to brain health, right? Certainly really important. One of the reasons we get a consistent testimonial of improvements in brain health is because there's so many mitochondria in the brain. Patty, I think you're back.
I'm back, and it's really irritating. I mean, I'm like hanging on by a thread with a hotspot on my phone. So I apologize, but it was important to say that on the entire Earth, olive oil will hold more of the ESS60 molecule than any other oil we've tested, and we've tested them all, I would imagine, in the lab. So that's why we promote the olive oil. It's why it won the Nobel Prize. It's why it delivered these 90% longer longevity results, which is actually the longest longevity result.
ever.
Yeah. Yep. In history. That is, and it's peer-reviewed, published research. Very proud to share that our lab has provided the material, and our lab is mentioned in that original study. And in fact, speaking of studies, I know we've talked about this with you, Michael. I don't know that I've ever pulled up this slide.
No.
So this is a sleep quality crossover study. I originally started this because I was in contact with a consultant for Oura Ring. And Oura Ring is one of the better sleep, wearable sleep trackers on the market. And we were kind of digging in and trying to figure out like what kind of data could we get, and we should do the sleep study, because our most consistent testimonial is people take the product in the morning, they report mental focus and energy during the day, and then better sleep that night. So we get this kind of conversation going, and this was right before COVID, and it turns out the Ring was pretty good at identifying it. And so he disappeared, right? He was on press tours. He was busy with, that data. And so we decided to continue the study anyway. And so it's a crossover study. And so what you're looking at here is the blue bars are 10 days of survey data before they tried the product. The red bar is 10 days of survey data when they were first on the product. The yellow bar is 10 days when they went back off the product. And then the green bar when they went back on the product. And we were asking them to rate their sleep. How easy did they fall asleep? How restless were they? And how did they feel the next day? Like what was the quality? And you can see that 100% of the participants reported improvements when they were actually on the product. So it's a pretty phenomenal result. We are actually working on getting more people through the study. So we're excited to continue, that data collection.
Fantastic. Wow.
Very good. And I'll share, because there are a lot of supplement companies out on the market. Most supplement companies don't do research, and even fewer publish that research. We actually published a paper, our lab did in May of last year, and then in June of this year. So not only are we continuing to do research, we're actually publishing that research. So it's I'm comfortable. I'm going to call us a weird supplement company because we're actually doing research and actually publishing it. And just to share, I think the reason, like people have shared with me, the reason most supplement companies don't want to do the research is they have a story, and the story sells, and they're worried that the research will show that the story's untrue. And so they're afraid of the truth, actually. And we're just not. Like, we have such confidence in the product. Like, let's get more studies done so that we can so we can speak more openly about what the benefits of this product are. And then I just have one last slide. We've talked about the boss theory. I'm pretty sure I've never really shared this slide. This is really interesting. This is really the fundamental thing that we believe is happening that is giving us kind of head-to-toe testimonials. It's the boss theory. It stands for buffering oxidative stress system. So up here on the upper left, you've got a healthy mitochondria. Remember, mitochondria is the powerhouse of every cell. There's between 50 and 5,000 mitochondria in every cell in your body, except for your blood cells, which have 0, and your brain and neurons, which have 2 million. That's how much energy our nervous system uses relative to our other systems. In a normal mitochondria, just like every power source, there are negative byproducts. And we've got those pictured here as these reactive oxygen species, these green or blue reactive oxygen species. And if those guys are left to their own devices, they run around like little bumper cars, and everything they bump into, they cause oxidative stress, oxidative damage, kind of rusting. And internal to a healthy mitochondria, you've got melatonin and glutathione. It's always interesting to pause here because melatonin is the sleep hormone, right? We're familiar with this sleep hormone, and that matches one of our most consistent testimonials, which is better sleep. So in healthy mitochondria, you can see that the melatonin and glutathione are managing the reactive oxygen species. Now, what happens when you stress a mitochondria? And it's important to point out, how do you stress a mitochondria? I like to point out that it's in fact if you are alive today, you have stressed mitochondria, right? Like you feel stress from the news, you feel stress from the lights being emitted on you, smoking, smog, maybe it's drinking. All these things are insults on us. Microplastics. There are so many ways to have stress on our bodies. And that's when the mitochondria start producing more reactive oxygen species than can be managed by the internal glutathione and melatonin. So you see in this stress mitochondria image that some of the reactive oxygen species are managed by the glutathione and melatonin. And then we've got these kind of red unbonded reactive oxygen species. They even have a hole to get out of the mitochondria and get into the cell and start causing oxidative stress, oxidative damage. And that's where we really think the ESS60 molecule shines. We know from peer-reviewed published research, it gets into the mitochondria. And we also know from way back in the 90s that it can hold up to 6 of the negatively charged particles. So the most damaging reactive oxygen species are negatively charged particles. So this is still a stressed, in the bottom here is still a stressed mitochondria, but in this case, those extra reactive oxygen species that would normally run around and do damage are now attached to the ESS60 molecule. So they can't run around and do any damage. And then when you think, when that mitochondria replenishes the glutathione, right? So this glutathione and melatonin is already reacted with reactive oxygen species, but the mitochondria will produce more. And when it does, they can then connect with these, bond with these reactive oxygen species and, manage them appropriately. And that's why we say that the ESS60 molecule is the boss, a buffering oxidative stress system.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Was that geeky enough for you?
I love it. I love it. So I'm going to show real quick the ancient olive trees. Let me get there we go. So some of these, like I said, go back over 4,000 years. So you see little right here. That's a very ancient olive tree. Wow. In front of some of these ancient ruins. So I looked through a lot of other slides, but there was one in particular that they've already identified as 4,000 years old, and it was in front of I think a temple to Hercules or something like that. So these go back a long time, and obviously they were, in front of temples. So these temples were supposedly, to gods, and they're supposed to be really, really good. So I get probably the olives from around the temples were of high value, and so obviously they put, some oomph to their olives. And of course, like you guys are getting from Tunisia, that area over there has incredible olives, and your olives are your olive oil and your C60 EVO product is unbelievable.
Yeah, no, it really is doing. And if you think about what is really happening with that boss theory, right? We kind of summarize it by saying we're reducing the negative impact of stressed mitochondria. And if you do reduce the negative impact of stressed mitochondria, then you should have what we have, right? Because the mitochondria is powerful in every cell in your body. You should have what we have, which is head to toe testimonials. And it's just, it's one of my joys. I am the geeky guy you see in front of me. I like talking this geeky science. I really do. And on the back end of that, I reap the benefits, which are customers calling in and sharing their testimonials, whether it's about them or a loved one or a pet. It really is. I really am just an incredibly lucky person to do what I do today.
Yeah, that is definitely amazing. And it's too bad Patty's not here. We had a friend that recently passed over, and he's in the secret space program stuff, and has done a lot of shows, and he took sick very, very quickly. It seemed to be kind of like same kind of symptoms that Patty went through, unfortunately. And she said the thing that saved her was the C60 EVO, and that's why she got involved with you. So unfortunately, they came on so fast for this gentleman that we couldn't get him the product. But that doesn't mean that if we got him the product that he would survive, but so we can't make any claims. But they're obviously, in Patty's case and my case, because I've been attacked too, unfortunately. by using something that's a preventative, I think, to extreme cases of probably uranium attacks, because every one of his organs failed. And he was a super healthy guy. So very, very unusual. So, it's a crazy world out there. And, some of us try to get out some really good information like you guys do. And you have incredible a product that's, I think, not only reversing aging. So not only is it stopping the aging process, but reversing. You can look at you and Patty as great examples. It's not just stopping; you guys are reversing. So getting healthier, and you've proven that with the test that you talked about. So it is an amazing product. What else would you say? Like, you also have the avocado oil, and this is one of my favorites for my salads. So what's the difference between olive oil and avocado oil?
Yeah, well, one thing, let me just interject. It's always important to share, the FDA has not evaluated our product. It is not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease. And we, often talk about anecdotes and testimonials, and it's always best just to assume that won't happen for you. If you kind of dig into the research and you're interested in trying it, then there's a link below, right? So there's a way to do that, and a nice kind of discount on that landing page. We do sell olive oil, avocado oil, and MCT oil.
Yep.
I'll just share my routine. So I do kind of a bulletproof coffee thing in the morning, right? Bulletproof coffee classically is a high quality coffee, some ghee, which is purified butter, and then some MCT. I get rid of the ghee. I actually don't like the taste of the butter in my coffee very much. And I also don't want those calories. So I just put some MCT in my coffee. MCT is oil, coffee is water, right? So you got to blend that up. While that's blending, I'm taking about 1.5 teaspoons of our olive oil product. And then for lunch, I'll often have a salad and put some of our avocado product on the salad. Our recommended is 1 teaspoon, just like we did a shot earlier. You did a teaspoon, I did a measuring cup. A medicine measuring cup is about 5 mils or 1 teaspoon. And we do recommend it in the morning. And it is very unique because, again, most consistent testimonial, people take it in the morning, they report mental focus and energy during the day, and then better sleep that night. What do you take in the morning to positively impact sleep? That's pretty phenomenal. And it goes to support this boss theory. So when people ask which oil, do we recommend, we always recommend the olive oil for 2 key reasons. The first is we are a science-based organization, and almost all of the research is on this ESS60 molecule in olive oil. The next is you get the highest concentration of the ESS60 molecule in olive oil, about 0.8 milligrams per milliliter in olive oil, 0.6 in avocado oil, and then 0.3 in MCT oil. So you really do need twice as much of the MCT oil if you're trying to kind of get to the same dosage of the ESS60 molecule. So that's kind of where those products land.
So if somebody was saying that olive oil is up to $36 a liter in supermarkets today, I heard olive oils are especially going to become hard to buy because of weather, like coffee and rice, blah, blah, blah. So have you guys noticed that? Is the olive oil that you're purchasing going up in price, or you got a good deal?
Yeah.
How's it look?
There was really bad weather. It was last season. This season is already looking to be much better. It is that, it's a fruit, so it's a seasonal product. And that does have what we ended up doing. I think we did end up raising our prices a little bit, but absorbed a lot of that cost, right? We're trying our hardest to keep this as an affordable product. The reality is it's really hard to make this ESS60 molecule, and maybe now's not the time, but it's a pretty challenging molecule to make. So it's expensive. It's more expensive than gold on a per ounce basis already. Yeah. And then you have a price increase on olive oil and all sorts of tariff, all sorts of things, but we're trying to hold steady as long as we can.
Yeah, that's just fascinating. There was a time when monatomic gold was like only the royalty would get that, because the way they had to get it, and they got it from streams that were rich with gold up in the mountains, and they put these fleece Jason and the Argonauts, you know, the Golden Fleece. So basically they put fleece in the water at this one stream that was in Russia. And as the water came through, it would take out very small, you know, pieces of gold. And then they would give that to the royalty, and it made them healthy and everything. I think this is like that because you mentioned it's more expensive than gold per ounce. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. And you know, in order to manufacture it, you actually need local temperatures of the sun, right? So you're really vaporizing 2 graphite rods in an inner environment at a reduced atmosphere, so a slight vacuum, which is already, all of that is already challenging. It turns out that graphite is one of the hardest materials on the planet to vaporize. You do need local temperatures of the sun to vaporize it. In fact, we have a sight glass. If you don't have welder's goggles, you will burn out your retina. If you let that light shine on your skin, you will get a sunburn because it's local temperatures of the sun. So I mean, you think back to why the original scientists won the Nobel Prize for the discovery of this molecule. And it is because the way I say it is the molecule performs as well or better than the current best material in almost every application. It makes better inks, better tires, better batteries, better photocells. And even today, 40 years after the initial discovery, it really isn't used in those applications. And it's because although it is better than the current best material, it's also significantly more expensive than the current best material. And I know Goodyear was looking at incorporating some, and they're basically, if you increase the cost of our tire by 1 cent, we're not interested, right? Like they have all their margins and, you know, all this stuff. Sure. So yeah, it's the best application is right now this kind of health supplement.
Wow, that's incredible. Now, you know, we're talking about, you know, it's more expensive, and probably people are going, oh my God, can I afford this? But this is an incredible time, of course, because you guys have incredible discounts going on like you've never had before. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So if you scroll down on that page a little bit, you're going to see we've got an offer for 2 bottles. And then we've got an offer. This looks like a slightly different page. We've got an offer for 2 bottles, 3 bottles, and 6 bottles. I guess that page has changed, actually.
Yeah. No, it's just the way I had it. I was zoomed in too much.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I guess Patty's kind of made a change here. So you can see all of the different products here. Is there a discount code up there? Let me see. I've got your page pulled up too. Oh no, I'm on a different page. I'm on your page, which is c60evo.com/unleashing intuition.
Okay, let's pull that one up.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to like redo that again too. We thought we had that fixed, but yeah, this is.
There you go. Yeah.
We'll make sure we get the right link. So you guys in the background, Tracy, and maybe you guys can find that, Patty, find that good link, so we can get that out to everybody. So be good. All right. So yeah, here's the good stuff.
So, and a couple things. One, it's important to use this link because it's got the best deal. It's also important because it supports your channel. Like that's, you know, and everybody loves the content that you're putting out there, supports your channel. So if you scroll on this, you'll see we've got a 2, 3, and 6 offer where we've got a 40% discount on 6. We've never done this before. And here's our thought process. So one, we think people often ask, like, what should I expect on the product, right? Like that's a very valid question. People got to be interested. We like to think of your experience on the product about a 3-month experience. Remember, most consistent testimonials, people take it in the morning, report mental focus and energy during the day, and better sleep that night. Month 1, we're really looking at that focus and energy. And I've got one testimonial. A lady took the product in the morning, recorded a video for us in the evening, and pointed out that she didn't finish her cup of coffee that day, right? And if you're a coffee drinker, that's a big deal. I can share, I used to be a 2 to 3 cup a day coffee person. I'm now down to like a cup or maybe a half a cup. It's more about the ritual than it is about needing the caffeine for energy. So that's month one. Month two, we start to look at sleep. I think sleep often takes a little bit longer because everybody gets a little bit more or a little bit less sleep each day. And it's sometimes hard to attribute better sleep, a little bit more sleep, or a little bit deeper sleep to something that you started taking. So people really start settling in on sleep on month two. I'll share, I've got a business coach. The way he puts it is for 50 years, he needed an alarm clock to wake up. When he started taking this formula, he wakes up before the alarm clock. Now, he's a business coach, right? So he's got late night mixers and late night dinners. None of that matters, except if he doesn't get the product for about 10 days, then he'll start to need the alarm clock again. And that's actually what the data in the literature says. This will clear out of your system in about 10 days. And then finally, in month three, if you think about these mitochondrial benefits, they're systemic, and I've got to be because of the FDA, I've got to be really careful about what we share. But we start seeing this compounding effect, and I'll share. My father-in-law was using a cane, and right at about the 3-month mark, he stopped using the cane, which caused him to walk more. So not because of our product, but because he was walking more, he actually ended up losing weight, which made it easier to walk without the cane. Like everything was compounding. And so that's kind of what we see. And based on that, we've done a 15% off on the 2 bottles, 20% off of 3. That can get you to that 3-month. And maybe you want to really take advantage of this and get 3 bottles over to a friend or somebody else who might need this. We also have our Inside Out, or our starter set. This uses our advanced facial serum, and it's the same kind of configuration. It's 2 of the advanced facial serums, 2 of the 4 ounces for that kind of 15% discount. Go for 3 for 20. And then if you go for 6, you get a full 40% discount. It is amazing. Also, you'll notice you can save a little bit more money on subscription. I always recommend, even if you just want to try it, go ahead and go on subscription. You can cancel at any time. Our customer service team has 1,000 5-star reviews on Google. They are not trained to talk you out of canceling your subscription. They're trained to help you, and they do an amazing job. So please, if you want, take advantage of that additional savings by going on subscription.
Fantastic. Yeah, I got the good link, so I'll put it in this. I put it in the chat, and I'll put it in the description box. So I don't know how we got the wrong one, but hopefully that works out. So if you had one that doesn't have Unleashing Intuition, my picture in it, guys, then it's not the good one. So
yeah, and it doesn't have the good discount, right? And it doesn't. It's going to be harder for us to figure out how to have it support your show. So make sure you do use that link.
Yeah. So thank you very much. Chris, that's just fantastic. Any final words? I love the olive oil information. I've been wanting this for a long time, and that was incredible. Thank you.
You're welcome. And it's olive oil is well deserving of your attention, right? Because it is such a fantastic oil. Remember, in that original study, the olive oil rats lived 30% longer. The rats given olive oil and the ESS60 molecule lived 90% longer. We're going into the holidays. One kind of other thing to note, because we didn't really touch on antioxidants in particular. As the holidays are coming on, people are thinking about cold and flu season. They're typically thinking about vitamin C, right? Like, let me make sure I've got that emergency, or my vitamin C vitamin pills, or drink more orange juice. Just note, there is peer-reviewed published research showing that our product is 125 times more powerful than vitamin C. And so if you're looking to, 125 times peer-reviewed published research. So yeah, that's what I reach for. If I feel that little, and honestly, every now and then, probably about a month ago, I was feeling this little tickle in my back of the throat. We all know the feeling. I'm about to get sick. I just double up on my servings, and it never really lands. It's pretty fantastic.
That's very phenomenal. Yeah, I think we're gonna have another show. So guys that you tune in to the show, you always want to keep tuning in. It's not like, I bought some, I don't need to go back. No, just we're going to continually educate you on incredible information. We have the scientist, and we have the rock star, Patty, that's usually here, but internet's craziness. It's a crazy day as you saw from our link. So we're trying to make things work for you. So yeah, definitely. I think we got another show coming up in like on the 11th or something like that.
Yep.
We want to keep people informed. We got the holiday special right now, so we want to make sure you guys be able to take advantage of it. So you know, get it for yourself, enjoy it, but get it for your friends too and your relatives. And I saw this one funny thing where somebody was they were going to have Thanksgiving dinner, and it said, if you want to cut back on your holiday gifts, talk about politics.
You'll get thrown out before they
here. No politics here, guys.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yep, absolutely. All right, Chris and Patty, wherever you're at, thanks so much for your work, and we look forward to having future conversations. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Michael.